So last thing, man, let's get into this so we can
Speaking
close
of
out the show.
Duncan and speaking of Robinson, this is a good segue.
Go ahead.
Duncan Robinson plays for the Miami Heat. No, I was going to say that since I heard it.
So game 7 took place. The Heat, Jason Tatum gets hurt the first play from tip. He's
26
hobbled
seconds
all
into the
game.
game. Yeah.
He's hobbled all game. I believe the Heat closed the first quarter on an 18-6 run, and that essentially was the game. There would be times, I believe the Celtics got it as low as 7 once the league got into double digits, but they never truly threatened outside of a few moments from Derek White in the second half, the third quarter in particular. The Heat, who said that they were, the world for the most part said that they were cooked after losing in game 6. They defeat the Celtics in game 7 in Boston with a crowd that was ready to basically explode from the opening tip. And they're going to the NBA Finals to take on the Denver Nuggets. First game. Game 1 is at, I don't know about the time. I know it's Thursday. I want to say this again. I had this conversation. I said this last episode. I'm going to say it again. Do not talk to me about momentum anymore. I don't want to hear it. We saw the Boston Celtics come down from 3 games. And after that tip in at the buzzer by Derek White, all we heard was, it's over. They're cooked. They can't come back from it. They blown the lead. We're about to get the tweets ready. Get your drafts ready. We about to slander the Heat because there's no way they can come back from this. And in one of the group chats I was in, I said, you know what? I said, it all depends on their mindset. I didn't mention nothing about, I said simply, if they can get their minds together and get themselves prepared, then they will have, I'm not saying that they were going to win. I thought they would be competitive in game 7. Why? Yes, Sydney, it is hard to beat a team 4 games in a row, but it can be done. We just saw it in the Western Conference Finals. Yes, it was tough, but again, even in that series, the Lakers were competitive in just about every game. I think all 4 games were competitive, at least in parts of the second half. But Denver, when they needed to get themselves together, they got themselves together. Miami kept their heads about them. They kept their composure. They went into a building where if Boston gets to like let's say they started out 10-2 run, 12-2 run, like they kind of did in game 5 or 6. Game 5?
Yeah, but they did go up kind of. They did go up. Well, it wasn't. Nah, it was like 8-2 or something like that.
Like 8-2, right? Like it wasn't like it was in game 5, where like they started out like 15-5 or something like that. It was like 20. Like it was the Avalanche started. It was from the opening jump, right from the opening tip. It was over. They kept their composure and they did their job, and that is the entire thing I've been saying about momentum. Shout out to Country Boy on he's from Kingdom Cast.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, disagree with me. And you've never seen Harry Potter, so this reference is going to be lost on you. Yeah. I'm going to pull up this tweet real quick because he says to me, he's like, let me go to my mentions real quick. He goes, so I say to him, I found over the years that very few people are with me on the idea of momentum not being real, but there are too many instances where teams with momentum have not maintained it. So he says to me, because it easily escapes and can switch multiple times. It's fleeting. It's very hard to maintain over 4 games. And so if you've ever watched Harry Potter, they have this game called Quidditch where they fly around on brooms. And the game can be won by catching what I believe is called the golden snitch. It's a small little ball that has wings. And you chase it. And I'm like, bro, you just described the golden snitch from Harry Potter. Like you're chasing no, you don't chase momentum. You simply keep your head and you win. So you don't have to even respond to that because we've argued enough about that. I just want to put that out there for the listeners. Once again, momentum is not real. Stop with momentum. It is the ability to maintain your mindset and do your job no matter what it looks like. Your thoughts on Boston, Miami?
Yeah, it's funny. And they asked this question when I was out at Fox Sports Studio as like the pre-show question to the panel, and it was, would you rather be swept, or would you rather lose a heartbreaking game 7 in a series? You know, and there were mixed answers on it. For the most part, I think like 3 out of 5 people said I'd rather lose a heartbreaking game 7. Just because I could at least say that I competed. I could at least say that I showed up and competed. Like if I got swept, like I'm going home, like dang, we got embarrassed. I don't know how I feel about it. But I can say this much is like after winning 3 games and being at home and like not only that, you're the 2 seed and they're the 8 seed. At some point in time, right? When there's 1 game left, it's like you're the 2 seed for a reason and they're an 8 seed for a reason, right? That like this game, you're a 7.5 point favorite. Like there's just and you drop the ball to where it's not even a competitive game in the second half. Like it's not even like, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Tatum's ankles is not the reason they lost that game. I don't believe Tatum's ankle is the reason they lost that game. I don't think Tatum goes off for some 46 points or whatever. And you look around the games they lost. Al Horford will have 4-6 points. Marcus Smart will have 2-4 points. Something like that. And in the games they won, Marcus Smart's putting together 20. He's playing like a point guard. He's hitting shots. They're getting the ball into the paint. Like it was literally that you could watch the games and say, oh, they're just chucking up threes right now. They're just hoping that somebody catches fire. And it was a big, big disappointment. It was a big, big disappointment. It had to be a huge disappointment. I mean, man, listen, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I've never, ever been a fan, really, of Boston sports, any of the teams. There's an entitlement of just that city and everything. Of course, I like Grant Williams. I have a Celtics jersey, I have his jersey, or whatever. But, like, for the Bruins to lose game 7 at home after being the best hockey team all year, and then the Celtics to lose a game 7 at home, like, hey, yo, pray for Boston, man. Pray for Boston. Because guess what? This is not one of those years where it's like, man, at least we got Tom. Oh, we don't even got Tom Brady anymore. Like, yo, the struggle is real for Boston, man. And the Red Sox, I don't even think the Red Sox are that good right now. Like,
No.
pray for Boston, bro.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, as someone who fancies himself as a decent shooter, not great, not elite, I'm decent, right? When you go to pick up and your shot isn't falling and you're getting good looks, sometimes you're getting wide open looks, it messes with your head. It does. And if you are on that level, and at that point, I think I saw Richard Jefferson say it that day, the day of game 7. He's like, it was either him or Perk. He goes, the pressure is on Boston now.
Oh, yeah.
You were the favorite going into the game. You were supposed to win this in 5 or 6. You lost 3 straight. You barely won game 6, and you blew it. You almost blew it in the second half of that game.
So much.
Shout out Norman.
Once an episode.
So you barely held on in that game, and you went home, and the world was expecting you to win. I think there were 7.5 point favorites.
Yep.
In that matchup. The world is expecting you to win. Your best player tweaks his ankle to start, and then you can't buy a 3. You can't buy it, and you continue to shoot them. And so, like, again, when you got Caleb Martin going for 11 for 16, Jimmy goes for what? I believe it was 30. If it wasn't 30, it was 28.
28, yeah. 28, 7, and 6, I think.
Bam isn't maybe not being an offensive force, but he's contributing in other ways. And you keep coming down and you're firing up threes and you miss, and the other team's getting buckets. And you can see it on their face at the end. They were demoralized. They were shell-shocked because to me, I heard somebody else say this, that Boston plays, you talked about entitlement, this particular team feels like, oh, we're the Celtics. We have 2 top 3 picks on our team. Celtics rebuttal game was lazy. We have 2 top 3 picks on our team. We have all these lottery picks on our team. Marcus Smart, lottery pick. We are going to win because of who we are. And it bit them. It bit them in the end. And so,
Celtics got what, $600 million worth of two players.
so I want to ask you this as we close the show. We're going to close on that note. If you were the owner, I think it's Wick Grousbeck is his name. I think he's the majority owner. Would you pay Tatum and Brown to supermax deals?
Well, my thing is that I have to have a conversation with them because there's times on the court where I don't even think they like playing with each other.
Man,
I'm watching body
too.
language. I'm watching transition baskets. I'm watching the ball move around. I'm seeing, you know what I mean? And I'm looking like, this doesn't seem like a 1-2 punch. This seems like a one punch. All right, I'll punch now. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like that, Now, I'm not going to say that they're going to be honest and say, well, da-da-da-da, but I'm like, I don't know if Jaylen Brown wants to play with Jason Tatum or vice versa. If they can say, yes, we do want to play together, we do want to right the ship, like I say, pay them. They're both very, very good. We're talking about first team All-NBA, talking about second team All-NBA, but Robert Williams is a great post presence or whatever, but they're going to have to find somebody else down low, or they're going to have to find somebody else that's not Al Horford that could stretch out there and hit shots, behind the arc, because, man, there's just too many balls, too many rebounds, too many. Grant Williams is not a down low player. He's not, it's not there. They're missing that piece. So who knows? But if I do let one go, this person's question, I think it's going to have to be Jaylen Brown. I think he's widely considered the beta, he's widely considered the beta. And I think just pure talent wise, Tatum is a better player.
So a couple of things on that. Brown would absolutely be the one I would let go. Number one. Number two, Jaylen Brown for big stretches last year in their run to the finals, he played like he was the best player on the floor. And when Tatum got hurt, they needed him to be that for them, and he was not. I think you have two guys who are really talented but are redundant. And I don't think you're going to be able to win with both of those guys. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they keep them together. Also, the CBA makes it punitive for you to try to keep these types of teams together. So if you pay them, you're going to be stripping the rest of the roster to try to fit around them in order to win.
Now, Miami has the 18th, I think it was the 18th most expensive roster in the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder put more money into their roster than the Miami Heat.
Crazy.
And that's why I think you're looking at possibly Eric Spoelstra's best coaching job of all time.
If they win. And I know JC had this comment. I want to make sure I bring it back up. I feel like the Nuggets and Heat are evenly matched, but Jokic on his best day is able to make the most out of everyone, not just himself. Nuggets in 6. And I think that is a very that's a great point for that series, but also for the Celtics. They don't have a player who elevates and makes everyone better. To me, if I'm Coach Mazzulla, I'm telling Jason Tatum, we got to get you on a low block. We got to get you on
Mazzulla. Is he telling him, like, is he coaching him or is he in?
No, he's not getting fired.
You don't think so?
He made the Eastern Conference Finals his first year as a coach when he wasn't even.
Didn't Ime Udoka make them Eastern? How many years did he coach?
But he was his first season in Boston. But he was handpicked to be the coach before he started sleeping with everybody. Like he was picked to be the coach.
No, right? They got squad, bro. I'm just telling you, Quinn Snyder could take them to the Eastern Conference Finals.
All I'm saying is this. I think they lost 3 coaches, including Mazzulla, right? Because Mazzulla went from bench coach to head coach. Damon Stoudemire and I forget Will Hardy both left to become coaches at other places. They didn't replace them. Right, Mazzulla, the scandal breaks out. Mazzulla's promoted. That's 3 coaches, 3 bench coaches. Let me get in the camera that you lost and you did not replace. So he's got to get some more coaches in there. Number one, and number 2, I think he can grow from this. But I'm telling Jason Tatum, high post, my man. We're going to work from here, and I need you to work on your decision making to be able to find cutters and shooters. Right? I think they got to try to find someone, like you said, who can get in the post. And they can give the ball to and say, go to work.
Yeah.
Go to work. You know what I'm saying? So, like I don't know, man. Shout out to JC. He said he wanted
Let's go, JC.
in it on an unassisted double play. Very nice, very nice. But not like, I think they've got to make some changes in how they play basketball, and it can't just be did we shoot 40% from three? If so, we won. If not, we lost. Like it
Well,
can't
you would
just
agree, though, it's a very tough position to be in. Almost making going from making the finals to then going to losing in the Eastern Conference Finals in 7. It's almost a tougher position to be in to make changes because you're like, yo, why make changes? Like we literally just played in the finals in the Eastern Conference, game 7. Like if you're a team that doesn't make the playoffs, you're like, hey, we got to make changes. We're not making the playoffs. Like this is something we can look at and say this is not working. But you have a team that just came from the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals, is like, yo, it was working. We just didn't, we're missing this. And then finding this is a lot more difficult than finding this. Now, that could have been crazy. Yeah. If there's somebody, but yeah.
We not pausing nothing. So,
No.
so to me, that's the argument again for keeping them, right? I think when you look at a team like the Heat have pretty much kept the same roster. There's been, PJ Tucker's gone, but there's been little pieces here and there. But for the most part, it's been Kyle Lowry, it's been Bam, it's been Jimmy for most of this run that they've had since 2020, from getting to the finals there, making the conference finals last year, back in the finals this year. There's something to be said. Duncan Robinson's been a part of that run. Max Strus gets added. Gabe Vincent gets added. Caleb Martin gets added, right? You have kind of these ancillary pieces that get added to it, but that core stayed the same. That's your greatest argument for why you do not break it up, right? Because the argument is these guys are young. They're only going to get better. However, Oklahoma City at one point was also young and had loads of great talent come through there, and it yielded them nothing.
Yeah.
And my concern is that, to me, Tatum and Brown have peaked. I think we're seeing the best of them unless they're going to make some changes to their game. And it can't just be three-pointer, contested fadeaway. There's got to be some way for them to get easier buckets and get to the basket when the jumper's not working.
We talked about it. I don't know if we talked about this podcast. We talked about it, but it's like, how much better can this team get? 6th man of the year, Malcolm Brogdon, former defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, all NBA first team, all NBA second team, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. How much better can you really, especially if you're going to have to put $600 million into these two guys? Like, what can you really put together, And if this is the best you can get, then it comes down to Tatum and Brown literally expanding their game or figuring out a way to make the team better, regardless of the people that are put around them.
That, to me, if they're going to finally win a championship, that's going to be the next step. They've got to be able not only to get a shot for themselves, but to be able to get a shot for somebody else, right? Basically, shot creation, but basically be able to create something for others. Now, I know people say, well, they don't have a true point guard. And I'm like, is Jamal Murray a true point guard? Because I don't think Jamal Murray is a true point guard.
No, but Jokic is probably.
Yeah. But even then, though, right? Bruce Brown is not a point guard, but he is the de facto backup point guard for them.
Yeah.
So again, I don't really want to hear about you need a true point guard to make it happen. You can make it work. You just have to have players who know their role and can make it happen. So
back to the question, it's like, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics, to probably be two most prestigious. Mm-hmm. You rather be swept or you rather lose in 7? Like, would you rather be the Lakers this year? You rather be the Lakers this year, or you rather be the Celtics?
I'd rather be the Lakers, because at least, again, the Lakers were competitive, right? And then there's okay,
were they? They lost 4 straight games,
but they were competitive. Those were competitive games. The final game ended with LeBron getting stuffed, trying to get a shot off at the buzzer, right? They were competitive in game 4. They were competitive in game 3. Jamal Murray went Super Saiyan Blue in game 2.
The Celtics were competitive, but they won games. They were competitive and they won.
They were a Derek White tip in at the buzzer from collapsing for the second year in a row to the Heat, by the way, because they almost collapsed in game 7 last year. And had Jimmy Butler put a little bit more power into his 3-point shot, likely would have lost that game. right? Like, just look at these series of events that had to happen just to get to Game 7. Marcus Smart takes a three. Normally, 3-pointers, when from distance, a shot from distance, the rebound is long. That shot went in and out and just caromed right there for him. And he had to inbound the ball, run to the wing, then sprint towards the man. Come on, like they should have played the lottery that night because that's how lucky they got.
Question to think about for next week.
Okay.
When Jokic wins his finals and becomes a finals MVP after being a 2-time MVP, where do you put him all time on the top bigs list?
I mean, he's back there. He's not even past Moses Malone. He might be past Moses Malone. I might put him ahead of Moses, but he's not ahead of Shaq. He's not ahead of Wilt. He's not ahead of Kareem. He's not ahead of Elijah Wan. He's not ahead of Duncan. I'm not sure he's not ahead of David Robinson. I don't. Who have I not named from?
He is the greatest Nugget though of all time, right?
Bill Russell. Man, I mean,
and he's the greatest Nugget to wear the number 15 of all time.
He's probably the most accomplished. I don't know if I'm not ready to see greatest yet.
You're not putting him over Carmelo Anthony yet?
If he wins a chip, I might. I mean, this is gonna make some people angry. He's probably got to be over Melo.
We can talk about it next time.
All right, man. Yo, we appreciate y'all joining us tonight, man. See, Sydney said he's not the greatest. We're talking
not the greatest Nugget. Nah, he's the greatest Nugget of all time.
Are you putting him ahead of Dan Issel? I think Alex English.
Yeah. Putting him over Mutombo. I'm putting him over Carmelo. I'm talking about 2 MVPs
and a finals
ring. They never even made it to the finals. Yeah, this is gonna be the Nuggets' first ring ever, and more than likely, Jamal Murray could definitely take that in the Finals MVP. I mean, we've seen what he's done, but when he does what he does, it's also because Jokic has you know what I mean? So it's not like he took a game off.
One of Jokic's greatest qualities is when a teammate gets on a heater, he looks to feed them the ball until the heater's done.
And so, what, eight triple doubles in the final in the playoffs so far, something like that? I mean, come on, man. Like,
I think he passed Wilt for most triple doubles all time, at least for a big man. I think in the playoffs, or maybe it might have been ever, regardless of position. But that's our show, man. We appreciate y'all rocking with us for all 1 hour and 30 minutes of this. We normally don't have a show this long, but here we are. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. You can check us out wherever you get the good podcast. You can search It's a Black and White Thing or search Brains and Bars. You can also find us on YouTube by searching Brains and Bars and on our social media accounts. That's Facebook, that's IG, that's Twitter. I'm going to get this figure out how to point to the camera right. It's
hilarious.
You can check us out there by searching at Brains and Bars. Until next time, it's been a Black
and White.
Hey, man, we'll holler at y'all next week. Y'all be easy.
Deuces, y'all.